All right, I think I've been trying to figure out why some of the um, plates are not changing, working properly. So I went through and I looked at the M4 plates, um, and then if you compare it to the M6 plate here, so the M4 plate here, if you go to, actually, so let's just show them, demonstrate the behavior. They're both, I guess, half-inch plates. If I change this one to 3/4 of an inch, the M4 plate behaves correctly. And then you can switch it back to a half-inch plate. Back, thinner. This is the M6 plate. If I go to the thicker plate option, the holes disappear. Okay, so the reason, if you look at the parameters, they look the same. All right, this is the M4 plate, you can see, and this is the parameters for the M6 plate, or yeah, M6 plate. They look the same. The problem is, okay, that, let me show this. We have to allow selection. So for the M4 plate, we have at the part level a parameter called extrude up. All right. That parameter is used at the for the hole there. The hole also has a parameter. The hole basically, the extrude has a parameter, hole depth, and that parameter, hole depth, is being set by the extrude up that's on the part. That's what this double dot, 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 extrude up. It basically means go from this particular shape up one level. So it's on the hole, right? We have the hole here. All right. For this hole, what we're doing is we are using the extrude up variable from the part to set the hole depth parameter on the hole. Okay. The reason we do that is because the hole size box, okay, has a height. You click on the show dimensions, and we're using that hole depth um, variable to set the height. Right? That's what this show formulas is. Turn it on to show the formulas that are associated with the edit boxes in this dialog. That's what it's doing. Okay. So we are in fact driving the hole depth, which is the height of this size box for this hole, using the extrude depth that's coming from the part. On the other hand, for the M6 part, right, it appears the same, right? If we select down to the hole, you'll see you also have an extrude up. You have a parameter on the hole extrude, right? The problem is that this hole is not using the parameter to set the height. When we turn the show thing on, it doesn't, nothing happens. It's not, well, there's no, it's just not being used. So, and that's why when we change the depth at the part level, this parameter, the holes appear to be missing. They aren't actually missing. Their size box simply hasn't changed because it's not being driven. And you can see that here. You see it hasn't changed, right? What we actually need to do is simply add hole depth to the size box height, and then it'll behave correctly. So now we can change it down, change it up. Okay. The other thing that it seems to be missing is a parameter for the first hole position, right? So what we wanted was to be, and I'm using the M4 example. So you have the first hole position here. You should be able to change these values. So let's say X is 15, right? And have the positions change, but it doesn't. Builder, yeah. All right. What needed to be done to these plates was a couple of things. First, we put on these dimensions, smart dimensions, which, based on this little star, show that they're locked. All right. By adding those dimensions that position this hole, what we're in fact doing is we're creating this. Let me just go down here, select the hole. We're actually creating this constraint, this D2 and D3 constraint. The actual value is a negative value. I'm not sure exactly why, but anyway. The thing that's missing is using there's just like the holes extrude, the size box is being controlled by a parameter. We need to control the position of these constraints on the hole using a parameter, and the parameter we would be using would be where is it? Well, it's not even here. Basically, the idea was to define a parameter on the part that would be used to drive these positions. Okay, and what needs to be done, which I had been trying to show previously, was, and we'll just do this again. What needs to be done is at the part level, you need to add a parameter. Let's call this first hole. Actually, I guess it doesn't really matter, but let me see. Let me just make sure I get the naming convention correct here. So I'm going to go back to an example that I sent you. At least I thought I had sent you previously. Sent this guy. Okay, what needed to be added were two additional parameters at the part level: hole 1 position X, hole 1 position Y. And then you use these parameters, hole 1 position X and hole 1 position Y, to drive the value of the D2, D3 smart dimension constraint. So we would just go back to our previous model, this guy. So what we need to do is add a parameter at the part level, hole 1 position X, and we'll give it a value of equivalent to the D2, which is minus 30. And then we also add another parameter called hole 1 position Y. Same value,